Greetings from East Tennessee here in Knoxville at Thompson Bowling Arena, where today a special treat, Western Kentucky out of the Sun Belt meeting the Tennessee Volunteers. And hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Neal alongside the coach, Eddie Fogler. And folks, this is a special treat because if you love offensive basketball, this is where you will want to be for the next 2 hours. These two teams love to get it up and down the floor, Coach.
They sure do, Dave, and there are other similarities as well. They're both coming off of exam break. They both have 2 losses, but I believe all 4 of those teams will go to the NCAA after the season. They both like to press and trap. They are outstanding three-point shooting teams. Bruce Pearl is 18-1 when Tennessee scores over 80 points. Western Kentucky is not going to change their style. They think they can win in the mid-80s here today.
Should be a lot of fun in that regard, and a couple of guys that will be a big part of the point production. Courtney Lee of Western Kentucky and Chris Lofton of Tennessee. Bruce Pearl says that Courtney Lee is a certain NBA type of player. We'll see what he produces here this afternoon. Now, another guy that has made great strides in his career in just 2.5 seasons is Chris Lofton. He's coming off a career night against Memphis.
Well, another focal point of every defense the Vols will see this year. He's learned how to put the ball down on the floor much better than when he got here at Tennessee, Dave. His numbers are ridiculous. His field goal percent shooting, his three-point percent shooting are ridiculous. His range is outrageous. He can really play the game of basketball more than just a shooter now. Chris Lofton must be contained. The only way I figured it out, Dave, the only way to do that is don't let Chris Lofton touch the ball. I've never seen a guy score if he didn't touch it.
It sounds easy in theory. We will see what Bruce Pearl will have in store for the Tennessee Volunteers as they get set to take on Western Kentucky. It's all coming your way from Knoxville. Back inside Thompson Bowling Arena here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Dave Neal and Eddie Fogler. I'd like to welcome those of you that just watched North Carolina knock off UNC Asheville 93-62. We are getting set for Tennessee and Western Kentucky. An interesting matchup. Two teams that love to push the tempo. And there's Darren Horn. Now in his 4th season at Western Kentucky, but he is a 95 grad of Western Kentucky. Tennessee will go like this. Dane Bradshaw, Duke Cruz, basically the front court. Juwan Smith, Jordan Howell, and Chris Lofton round out that backcourt for a team that scores 80 points a game. Bruce Pearl, 2nd year at Tennessee, 29 wins, 10 losses, 15th year overall as a head coach. Already 346 career wins. Of course, he is a 1992 Boston College graduate. Excuse me, 1982. He would like 92. Our officials, Tony Green, Rick Crawford, and Antonio Petty today. Here's Collier. Keep an eye on 32 red. That is Courtney Lee, Sun Belt Conference preseason player of the year. And there he is for a shot in and out. But the tip back in by Jeremy Evans, a 6'9 freshman.
Well, go right to Lee, first possession out, gets a good look at it, and an athletic freshman from Arkansas on the follow.
Here's Jordan Howell making his 4th consecutive start at the point guard position for the Vols. Lofton taking Lee into the paint. And drew the foul against Courtney Lee.
Well, right there, Dave, we see the aspect of Chris Lofton's game that has made his three-point shooting even more effective. The ability to put it down going left. Could not do that when he came here as a freshman.
Juwan Smith. He's working on Lee. Tough shot. Got it to go off the window. Of course, Juwan playing with a bad left wrist and hand that he suffered in a fall against Memphis. It's really bothered him the last week that Tennessee's been off.
Well, Tennessee certainly needs Juwan Smith, a veteran now, another excellent three-point shooter, and very good in their presses.
Here is Juwan, averaging about 13 points a game, shooting 42% from the floor. And once again, Tennessee causing problems for the opponents in the inbounds department. It's an amazing story.
Well, Dave, it might be as good as anybody in college basketball. I don't know of another team who turns the other team over, 5-second counts, whatever, on out-of-bounds plays like Tennessee does. Incredible.
Brazelton off the mark. Evans had his hands on it, but there's Bradshaw scrapping and clawing his way for the loose basketball. Dane to the window.
Well, coast to coast, Dane Bradshaw. I don't think anybody would kick him out of an AAU game to recruit. But I'll tell you what, Dave, every coach in the Southeastern Conference or opponent of Tennessee would love to have Dane Bradshaw. Can do it all.
Dane has been bothered by bad shoulders so far, and I just saw him come down the floor and wince in pain. Evans pulls up, jump shot is good. The freshman off to a good start today. 4 points, averages a little over 5.
Well, athletic on the boards and then spins out after he ball screens and hits the 12-footer. Very impressive.
Tennessee 7-2 on the year, 4-0 inside this building. Western Kentucky 8-2. Alley-oop to Jawan Smith. Read well by Western Kentucky. It'll still be Tennessee basketball.
Set lob play, Dave. Very well said. They read the back screen, read well, and the man guarding the back screener who was going to screen for the dunker played the pass.
9 on the shot clock. Loose basketball, but Dane Bradshaw comes up with it, and he's fouled by Evans. Boy, Bradshaw just has a nose for the basketball.
Looks like he hurt his shoulder a little bit, Dave. And let me go back on Dane Bradshaw. We see the out-of-bounds play. Western Kentucky keeping it from getting inbounds like Tennessee loves to do. And we see how he just has a nose for the ball and kind of tweaks that shoulder. You know, he's the kind of player in the summertime when the coaches go around and watch all the kids play, speed, quickness, running and jumping and dunking. I'm not sure anybody picks out Dane Bradshaw out of an AAU up and down game. But when you analyze what he does on film and what he brings to the table, again, every coach wants Dane Bradshaw.
Except maybe at the line right now. Dane 50% on the year. 14 out of 28 and just shot an air ball.
Well, 38 assists, 17 turnovers. I'm going to defend him. Leads the team in steals. You know, most block shots at 10. But, yes, needs to be better at the foul line.
And I wonder how much, you know, those shoulders, both shoulders have been a problem as Western Kentucky gets it to Evans up ahead. That's 6 points, all of Western Kentucky's allotment today.
And you see the Hilltoppers coming back with pressure of their own.
And an offensive foul on the inside. Looks like Duke Cruz will be whistled for that.
I think they can run with Tennessee, but they're not running teams. Western Kentucky is a running team. They are in their comfort zone playing this tempo.
You and I were talking about it's going to be interesting to see how Western Kentucky plays at a sustained high tempo against a team that plays that style, because you don't face many teams that are 40 minutes of up and down the floor.
Well, again, I think it helps, obviously, Western Kentucky, and obviously they're not very intimidated here with the great start they have gotten off to.
That last basket by Vincent Collier. Antonio Petty going over to the scorer's table.
And I can see Bradshaw's trying to stretch that shoulder out. Looks like he's got some pain, Dave, and yes, that would affect anybody's shooting as well as foul shooting.
To Antonio Petty and said, can you take a look at that? Are you absolutely sure? And Antonio said, you know what? Let's go make sure.
Well, that's very close, Dave. I think it's a 3, very close. But I guess they're waving it off.
Going to give him a 2.
Waving it off.
So it's now 8-4.
Good rule, by the way, to be able to go back to the monitor and check whether that's a 2 or a 3-point basket.
Jointer to inbound it to Evans. Coach Jointer gets the start tonight. Why did Coach Horn go that direction?
Well, very experienced, a senior, and physically tough. Very tough. Wanting to bring toughness to the court right away.
Here's Brazelton, the junior college transfer. Nice move to the basket, wouldn't go down. Jordan Howell comes out with it. He's got Smith to his right. Jawan pulls back, 3 on the way, got it. Jawan Smith shooting 32% from behind the arc. Now has points 3, 4, and 5. Jointer the other way. Out, no good. Tapped around Smith, the rebound. Here's Lofton, 2-on-1. Bradshaw, pump fakes. Nice ball fake by Dane Bradshaw.
Well, the nice pass by Lofton. Not only the fake, Dave, he had that sixth sense. He knew the defender was behind him, so he pumped him into the air and laid it in.
Tennessee 4 out of 4 from the field. Lead by 1. And was it touched by Bradshaw or not? They'll say no. It'll be Vol basketball. 3rd turnover by the Toppers.
We can see they get out on the break and no defensive rotation back for the Hilltoppers. Easy basket for Tennessee. Both teams breaking each other to get easy baskets at every opportunity.
Here comes Ramar Smith, number 12, the true freshman out of Mount Clemens, Michigan. Started the first few games at the point for Tennessee, but had some turnover issues. Now he's coming off the bench. Ryan Childress also on the floor. He gives it up to Jamar Smith at 3. Kissed the rim and then said bye-bye. Courtney Lee has been quiet after an initial attempt to start the game for the Toppers.
Both teams doing a good job in their transition defense, getting picked up very well.
Here's Brazelton. There's Lee. He'll fire for 3. No good. Rebound on the inside by Benson Collier, and he's fouled in the process. Timeout on the floor.
Did you know children are dying because of AIDS?
Up. Last possession.
And
Of all.
to that, we are.
The press sets up is the best way to beat any press, and Western Kentucky, that's their style, that's their game. Tennessee scores, but Western Kentucky jumps out with it, pushes it, runs the court, and counters and gets an easy basket themselves.
There is Darren Horn. These two clubs very similar in a lot of things that they do.
The one thing we haven't seen yet is the outstanding three-point shooting of each of these teams. 40% of Tennessee's attempts are from 3. They're making over 9 threes per teams. 40% standing three-point shooting of each of these teams. 40% of Tennessee's attempts are from 3. They're making over 9 threes per game. Western Kentucky making over 8 threes per game. I would expect to see the three-pointers going up here soon.
Bradshaw might have gotten away with dragging that pivot foot.
He did get away with it.
Okay, that was just trying to be nice. Here's Lofton, gets a touch and a long 3. No good. Tapped around. Boy, Lee showed some of his ability to leap up in the air. Tapped it to himself. Courtney Lee in the game. 1 for 3 for 2 points. Lofton on the afternoon. 1 for 2. Lofton and Lee going at it. Lee to the basket. Nice touch.
Well, that was just terrific, Dave. Tennessee switched to him, which is a great thing to do when he comes off the screen. So what does he do? He goes the opposite way, back left, and just challenges the Tennessee defense and gets the layup.
I had a chance to see Courtney Lee against Georgia earlier in the year and really took over that basketball game in the final 10 minutes. Long 3 from Smith, no good. Siakam the rebound.
And Tennessee getting 1 shot, 1 and done. They need to get on the offensive board for second opportunities.
Emerson. Foul from behind.
Emerson posting up Bradshaw. Mismatch inside. A good idea to try to take advantage of Dane Bradshaw at the low post. Only 6'4". Smart and tough, but only 6'4", guarding a 6'8" player.
It's our 4th lead change in this game, with the Hilltoppers now up by 1. Jordan Howell does a nice job getting the ball across the court and nearly threw it away.
Well, Western Kentucky traps the dribbler, just misses the pass out of the double team, and Cruz takes it to the hoop.
Ball's on the floor, and we will have a tie-up. Arrow favors Western Kentucky. Bruce Pearl has let Rick Crawford hear his thoughts about that last possession.
Well, this is my first time seeing Cruz in person. We see how they just missed the pass out of the double team and nobody there to stop the ball. But Cruz really impresses me with his aggressiveness and his ability to get on the floor for that loose ball. And you can see Tennessee out of bounds plays. They're terrific defensively.
Lofton. That's Tennessee basketball in a nutshell.
Well, he's harder to find in transition. If they get it up and down, they find him.
And Childress was stepping on the end line. It'll be Western Kentucky basketball.
Dave, 3 opponents this year have turned the ball over 10 times or more, taking the ball out of bounds. They put size on the ball, arms deflect, and now in transition, where's Lofton? Not enough numbers back to find Lofton, and he makes the 3.
And to put a period on that, opponents average 7.4 turnovers per game off inbound passes.
It's mind-boggling.
Lamar Smith now leading the charge. And a foul against Western Kentucky. Darren Horn thought otherwise. That'll be on Brazelton, his second. And it will be a 1-and-1 situation now, as that's the 17th foul against the Toppers.
The question on transition defense, do you protect the basket and take away maybe a layup, Dave, or do you filter out to Lofton and take away a 3? Tough decision.
You know, it's almost, you would say, you don't want to ever give up a layup. An open 3 for Lofton is like a layup.
Well, you know, you could be right. I said tough decision. Absolutely a tough decision. You've got to find him in transition. In the half court, they're face guarding him when they've got their defense set, trying to keep him from catching the ball. If he doesn't catch it, he can't shoot it. But in transition, that's another situation, much more difficult.
Lamar Smith with 6 points tonight, gets 1 out of 2. Coming in, averaging 4.4 points a contest. So a good start for the freshman guard. Here's Mendez Valdez, sophomore out of San Antonio, Texas. Now to Butch Jointer. 9:10 to go. First half basketball. 5-point Tennessee lead. Jointer sets the screen, and it is a moving screen in the process.
Well, the old flat ball screen, as I call it, almost every team in America now, when the clock runs down, will rush a post player out. He will look squarely at the other basket. He's not favoring one side or the other for the ball handle. It's flat. In the illegal screen, you must come for a stop, to a stop. It's a blind screen. You must give the defender one full step to change direction, so it's illegal.
You and I were talking today about there's so many of those flat ball screens being played today. It's part of the game as Lofton knocks down another jumper. But we'll probably see a lot more of those moving screens called as we move forward. 8-point lead, biggest of the game. It's also a 9-0 Tennessee run. Chisholm with the takeaway, and then he gave it right back to Courtney Lee. Here's Jointer, and that'll be a foul against Courtney Lee, and that'll be his second.
Well, they switch out. Chisholm switches out and switches the ball screen. Right there, switches it and slaps it away. But Lee, using his instincts, reads the pass. And as he pitches it up the court, they call him for over the top. But in my opinion, that's a no call, Dave.
I couldn't agree with you more. Courtney Lee was in the air.
In the air, in the middle of transition. He's got to have a chance to come down if the defender is not set. Did not have a chance to come down on the floor.
Another one of those, you just let him play. Lofton. Rebound taken by Evans. Mendez Valdez left it short, but chases down his own miss. H.A. Slaughter now to the basket. Off the window, that's good.
And with Lee out of the game, somebody's going to have to step up for Western Kentucky on the offensive end of the court.
Lamar Smith count the basket. Lamar having an excellent first half. Now with 8 points. He's 3 out of 3 from the floor. A chance for point number 9 when we come back. 7:48 to go in the opening half. Tennessee out in front here at home by 8. Tennessee fans have made their way inside Thompson Bowling Arena. School is out for the holiday break, but nonetheless, a good crowd on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Still a few empty seats, but if you go back just 2-3 years, this would be a season high, perhaps.
Well, they've done a great job, Bruce Pearl and his staff, promoting this program, and they have over 13,100 season tickets sold here, Dave. That's up over last year. It's quite frankly tough to get in this place for most games.
You and I were fortunate enough to be in here on kind of the night that really kind of set the stage for the season when Tennessee knocked off Florida. And then I was lucky enough to go down and do the rematch down in Gainesville, which was another great basketball game. Tennessee won that one as well.
Well, the first time the press has really got them. They got it in well. The one trap by Tennessee and hard. Tennessee puts a big guy on the ball to pressure the ball. It's hard to see over the big man. Cruz is not guarding 30 Joyner, but that's his job, to block the vision of the inbound passer, and they get turnovers because of the size on the ball.
Lamar Smith now off to Childress. Cruz set the screen. Lofton trying to get free. Can't do so. Shot clock now at 13. Bounce pass inside. Taken away by Evans to Mendez Valdez now. Evans sets a big time screen. Now there's a mismatch somewhere on the floor. Can Mendez Valdez find it? Collier. And Tab will pick up his first foul. But that year, 92-89, that game went into double overtime.
92-89. We don't see much of that at the Final Four anymore. The tempo has totally changed when you get to the Final
That's
Four.
true. Yeah, that is a different era of basketball.
And Courtney Lee back in the game, but Darren Horn going zone to protect him from potential foul trouble. First possession zone by the Hilltoppers today.
Also Brazelton, Tyrone Brazelton, their starting point guard, also out with a couple of fouls as well. Mendez Valdez getting a lot of minutes here in the opening half. From the corner, Jawan Smith. He now has 8, and Tennessee is 6 out of 10 from behind the arc, and it's the biggest lead of the game, 10 for Tennessee. Butch Joyner, good-looking jump shot. That goes down. That's a 3. That's the first 3 of the game for Western Kentucky.
Well, coming in, shooting over 42% from 3. They have 6 different players that can beat you from 3. Nice penetration here. Still in the zone. Got to find Jawan Smith with Lofton out. This is an excellent team for Western Kentucky to zone.
Lamar Smith, second time he's pulled off that shot tonight. He's got 11, which leads the team, and it's also a new career high. Mendez Valdez, nice touch. That goes down.
Western Kentucky not guarding the ball very well in their zone. Got to guard the ball, man or zone. I don't care what defense you play. You must contain the ball one-on-one. It's a 1-3-1 extended. Playing in the passing lanes, trying to match up the ball, one-on-one on the ball, but must contain the Tennessee dribble penetration, and then they pitch it for the 3.
Tennessee playing with 3 freshmen on the floor right now. This freshman, that freshman will be replaced by the junior Chris Lofton, have a little bit more experience. Shot clock down to 5. Bradshaw kicks it out. Jawan Smith tries again. In and out. Butch Joyner with the rebound. Here's Collier. Some of you might remember Vincent Collier played a couple of years at Florida State before transferring to Western Kentucky. Nice move. That was an ACC-type move.
That was. And as another example of not containing the ball, just driving the ball to the rim. Nobody contains the ball. Nobody slides over to draw a charge.
Cruz quickly double teamed. Back to Juwan Smith. Cross court Lofton. Courtney Lee comes out. Now Juwan Smith. Good half-court D by Western Kentucky to this point. Great stand by the Hilltoppers. Collier pulls up off the mark. Follow, no good. Batted around. Lofton has it. 2-on-1. The alley-oop. Nothing happening but a foul on Mendez.
I think he stepped out of bounds, Dave, on the baseline.
So the turnover gives it back to Western Kentucky with 3:59 to go in the game. Tennessee's lead is 5.
Nice job by Western Kentucky just to get the ball in bounds. .3:45 to go in the first half. Western Kentucky's been down by as many as 10, but they keep fighting back. That's a traveling violation against Mendez Valdez. That's number 10 against the Hilltoppers. Courtney Lee still on the court. 3:38 to go with 2 fouls. Crucial that he does not pick up a third foul. The Hilltoppers still in zone, trying to protect him on the defensive end of the court.
Coach, he only has 4 points. He came in averaging 19 a game.
So that bodes well for Western Kentucky.
Chris Lofton out of the corner, and for Lofton, he's now got a dozen.
Well, if you're going to zone, you got to keep him from catching it. You can do it actually in a zone as well. Give up something else. That's easy for Lofton.
He's 3 out of 5 from behind the arc. Coming off that career-high night against Memphis when he had 34 points, knocking down 6 threes in the process. Nice pass underneath, the jam by Evans. Collier with a great pass.
And Chisholm falling asleep, guarding the low post.
Juwan Smith. Lamar Smith, offensive foul.
Chisholm lulled to sleep. A freshman mistake. Hard to get freshmen to understand that the possession is 35 seconds long. You must concentrate the entire defensive possession.
1 out of 9 for the Hilltoppers behind the arc. Bruce Pearl telling his team and talking to him this morning at practice, emphasized that Western Kentucky hits over 8 threes a game. They shoot it well. We better defend it well. They have done so to this point.
And Courtney Lee now back out of the game, Dave, with 2 minutes to play. Western Kentucky down 6.
And Mendez Valdez draws the foul. That will go against Wayne Chisholm. He gave up the starting assignment to Wayne Chisholm. They play about the same minutes, but Duke had started every game. Said, you know what, Wayne's got a buddy he played high school ball with. Coach, why don't you let him start this game? And Coach Pearl obviously made the switch. But how many kids today would do that?
Not a lot, Dave. Says a lot about how he thinks.
Howell with the jump shot.
Of course, Cruz and Chisholm are getting about 18 points a game and 12 rebounds in that 5 spot. Terrific numbers for the freshmen combining to play the 5 spot with the loss of Major Wingate.
1:40 to go.
Well,
and the first half.
Excuse me, I asked Bruce Pearl, did he foresee playing them more together? Because Chisholm really is a 4-man, and you were there. He said he wanted to, but it's difficult to get Chisholm, who's a freshman, to have to learn the 4 spot and the 5 spot. 2 totally different positions as a freshman. So for now, they're going to split the 5 spot.
And Chisholm gradually learning a little bit of the 4 as he goes along. And I think maybe as we get into more league play, we might see that a little bit more. But you coach freshmen, and we see them on a nightly basis, is that you don't want to put them in a spot to where they can fail, because you're trying to find a spot where they can at least gain some confidence and not hurt you.
Right, and the learning rate for freshmen is very, very difficult, Dave. To ask them again to play 2 totally different positions is they think too much. They don't play, they think.
Another takeaway off the inbounds pass, this time by Lofton. It is absolutely amazing what they do defending inbounds passes. Cruz got pushed in the back by Joyner, and there was no whistle on the play. Here's Slaughter back the other way. Joyner hit a 3 earlier from that spot, and this one halfway down the cylinder, and it spins out. Dewan Smith. Childress had his hands on it, lost possession, but Collier was touching the ball, standing on that end line. It'll be Tennessee basketball.
The pressure on the ball, to me, is the key. Look at Cruz all over the ball. The pressure on the ball, blocking the vision of the inbound passer, is the key to the Tennessee defense out of bounds.
3 turnovers Tennessee has forced off inbounds passes tonight. They average 7.5. Dewan Smith. And Collier slaps Childress. And Childress will step to the free throw line.
Typically, too, Dave, when you turn them over, it gets them in transition. Tennessee not only turns you over, but then they get easy baskets, whether it's a layup or whether it's Lofton or Smith spotting up for 3.
Childress, a 52% foul shooter on the year.
You know, getting back to Cruz and Chisholm as well, one of the other things I think if they play together, I'm not sure Tennessee's presses would be as effective with the 2 big kids in together. Western needs to be very careful here in the last minute of play.
Collier working on Howell, does a nice job, didn't give up that baseline. Joyner underneath, that's a tough shot, tried to draw the foul. Look at Evans, Sky, keep it alive. Slaughter for 3, no good. Lofton the rebound. Here comes the breakout. Lofton, and a blocking foul counts the basket.
Well, they're in pretty good shape with 2 minutes to go, right where they need to be, but now it's a 10-point game, and Lofton at the free throw line. Western Kentucky missed 2 open threes, and Lofton just attacks the basket. The wide open 3 gets missed, and Mendez Valdez late trying to take the charge. And again, Lofton exhibiting the ability to go to the basket.
Lofton, 79% foul shooter this year. Converts and now has 15 in the game, and it is Tennessee's biggest lead at 11. Western Kentucky had just cut this to 5 and had the basketball.
And Tennessee will get the ball back for 1 possession as well.
Brazelton, with his 2 fouls, did not play many minutes here in the first half. 5 on the shot clock. Here's Brazelton with a quick first step. Off the window, no good. Childress with 6 rebounds here in the opening half. And Dewan Smith will launch it. And that will be no good, but Tennessee finishes that first half on a 7-0 run to build the double-digit lead behind Chris Lofton's 15 points. Courtney Lee averaging 19 a game. Just 2 out of 4 from the field and 4 points. The ball shoot 59%. 47-36 at the break.
On FSN.
You're watching FSN South.
Welcome to our Chevrolet halftime report. Tennessee leading Western Kentucky 47-36. We told you these 2 clubs love to get it up and down the point, up and down the floor here. And you can see Tennessee on pace for a 94-point night. And Coach, your impressions of Western Kentucky, because it looked like they had it. It looks like they had a chance to at least be a single-digit deficit going into the break.
Well, down 5 with 2 minutes to go, Dave. Lee has 2 fouls. Brazelton with 2 fouls. They missed 2 wide open threes, but didn't get back defensively and gave up easy baskets defensively, which really hurt them in the last 2 minutes.
Well, the good news for Tennessee is Chris Lofton continues on his torrid scoring pace. He had 15 in the first half.
Well, he had only 3 threes from 3, but he had 2 other threes taking it to the basket and getting fouled, Dave. Again, how do you stop a young man who can hit from anywhere with range, but also can take it to the basket? An incredibly difficult matchup for any defense.
And when I look at these numbers quickly, Western Kentucky 41% from the floor, Tennessee 59% from the floor. But the key number is 1 out of 12 from behind the arc for Western Kentucky.
Well, that's exactly right. Shooting 42% coming in. 6 different guys can shoot the 3 well. They have to shoot better from 3 in the second half, and Lee's got to get off a little bit more too.
Yeah, Courtney Lee in some foul trouble, only 4 points in that first half of action. We'll come back, have more. We'll hear from Bruce Pearl as he talks about sustaining the success here in Knoxville that they started just a year ago. Stay with us on the Chevy Halftime Report. And Western Kentucky. Well, the Vols last year captured the attention of the entire country. Now the question is, can they sustain that momentum from a year ago? We had a chance to talk to Coach Pearl about that topic. For the first time in recent memory, there was a buzz about the men's basketball program here at Tennessee last season, as Bruce Pearl and the Vols enjoyed surprising success in his first year in Knoxville. So how do you follow up on such success? Pearl believes it's a challenge this program must master if it's going to take that next step.
I think the great challenge is just to try to maintain a level of success and competitiveness that just sends a message that Tennessee basketball is relevant. We certainly had a special year. It was one of the great feel-good stories in college basketball, even if I do say so myself, because the fans embraced us. We had the #1 increase in attendance in the country, and Tennessee men's basketball finished 5th in the nation in attendance last year. Our kids did a great job, and obviously we were rewarded with a good season.
When a program experiences success, it must continue to build upon that. With stability comes success, and Pearl knows if the men's basketball program is to mirror the accomplishments of the football team and Pat Summitt squad, it has to win on a more consistent basis.
We have sold more season tickets than they've ever sold in the history of Thompson-Boling Arena. We are building an $18 million practice facility. We're spending $16 million on Thompson-Boling Arena, making it the biggest facility in the country, and now it's going to become one of the best facilities in the country. This is all about a commitment to basketball. You know, 10 years from now, when Pat's won her 1,400th game and retires, somebody's going to have to take that program over. They will now take that program over with the finest facilities in America. And if there's one thing that we need to do in Tennessee in basketball, Philip Fulmer's the face of Tennessee football. And obviously Pat's resume speaks for itself. We've just not had any stability on the men's basketball side. And if with stability will come some years of winning. And that's what we need to do. And I think that's what this commitment on behalf of Tennessee is all about.
One thing that Pearl found out last year is how winning brought out the masses. The men's program enjoyed its greatest season at the gate, and now he and his players recognize how important the volunteer faithful is to the success of this program.
Well, I think you have to deserve victory. And I think when an opponent comes into a building and they see it full, they know that there's support there. And that sometimes that can be intimidating. The officials know when you're playing in front of a full house that there's commitment there and that people care and that the outcome matters. But more importantly, your players know. Your players look in the stands and they say, people care, and they give it their best effort. So I don't know what it does to our opponent, but I do know what it does to us, and it just inspires us, and we appreciate it.
There is no question that Bruce Pearl is on the right path after claiming the SEC East Championship last year. Well, stay with us. We'll have more of our Chevrolet Halftime Report from Knoxville.
You're watching FSN South.
Tennessee at 7-2, trying to pick up their 8th win. Western Kentucky trails by 11 at halftime. You've been watching the Chevrolet Halftime Report right here on FSN. Stay with us.
Tuesday at 7 on FSN South.
Western Kentucky supporters on hand here inside Thompson-Boling Arena. Their club trailing by 11. All kinds of fans making their way inside to watch a little Tennessee basketball on a gorgeous afternoon. We are at halftime, 47-36, Tennessee out in front, and as we like to do here on FSN, we like to give you a little flavor. So we decided to dial up and catch a little action from both of the radio announced teams for Western Kentucky and Tennessee.
Running shot inside by Lamar Smith. Defends pretty well by the top.
He has 5. It's 20-15 Volunteer. In transition, Courtney Lee with a nice little finger roll layup. He has his first basket on his second. Make it 3rd shot. Daniel Emerson looking for Courtney Lee all the way. Gets it to him. Courtney drives left baseline. Puts it off glass and got it. Off the back of the rim. Not up.
Evans goes hiding at the rebound. Knocked away by Jackson. Bradshaw, quick hands, brings it up himself. Bradshaw dribbles all the way to the basket. Coast to coast and lays it up. Gets the rebound. Quick outlet goes to Lofton. Lofton flies down the left side. Bounce pass. Bradshaw lays it up and in. Great play by Lofton. On the team is left side. Childress is going to take a long three and hits. Ryan Childress a ball from the left.
Our hometown feel halftime highlights. Mike Legg and Bob Kessling, the two play-by-play announcers, across the way from us here at Thompson Bowling Arena. Tennessee with the basketball, leading by 11. Coach Fogler, if you're Coach Darren Horn, what was your concern in the locker room? How do you come out and try to attack this Tennessee team?
Well, Dave, I got to do a better job if I'm Darren, Western Kentucky, defending the ball in transition, taking away the easy baskets.
You see the three-point shooting by Western Kentucky. Well, we just missed Courtney Lee picking up his third foul of the game, an offensive foul. He went strong to the basket.
Well, and the first key decision for Darren Horn in the second half, the excellent deflection, and Howell taking the charge on Lee. That's Lee's third foul. Darren Horn deciding to keep him in the game. I would agree. Down 11, he needs his star to score, but also play smart on the defensive end.
Lofton hits Duke Cruz, and it's 49-36.
Now, Dave, that wasn't an air ball by Chris Lofton. That was a set play where he throws the ball over the right side of the rim from the left side of the court because Western Kentucky thought Cruz was coming across to the ball. He faked it, and they lob it up and dunk. Set play, just jumps up in the air. That's not an air ball. That is a set play. Cruz fakes going across, throws it up, and they dunk it. Nice play. Good scouting by Tennessee. Western Kentucky was ready for the screen, but he didn't use it.
Brazelton picks up his dribble, gets it to Collier.
Brazelton scoreless in the first half. Second leading scorer for Western Kentucky. Lee and Brazelton not putting up numbers here on the offensive end.
Brazelton averages 10 points a game. Lee, jump shot is good. That's a 2. So Courtney Lee now with 6 points in the game, averages 19.
Well, he just jumps up over the Tennessee defender. Elevates on his jump shot. Good athlete.
Here's Lofton, back to Bradshaw. Dane only played 9 minutes in the first half. Little pick and roll. Cruz got to the iron, left it a little bit short, then Joyner takes it out of there.
Cruz having trouble finishing plays around the basket.
Here's Collier. Brazelton, transferred in from Missouri State Junior College. Lee. Bruce Pearl told me today that you cannot allow Courtney Lee to penetrate anywhere near the lane inside that key because he'll knock the shot down every time.
Well, it was a weave. Tennessee switched it, which is the right thing to do, but he just jumps up over a defender. He gets into the lane, just jumps up and makes shots. That's not defensible right there.
Here's Lofton. He's trying to do the same. Return the favor. Got it. That's a 3.
That's ridiculous, Dave. That's going right, crossing over, pulling up. Something, again, he couldn't do. He was a standstill three-point shooter a year ago. Not anymore. That's ridiculous.
And he's one of the rare guys. We've talked about it today, all day. He's one of the rare guys that is consistent. His shot is a fall-away jump shot. 100% of the time, it's a fall-away jump shot.
Well, you notice that in shoot-around, and you're absolutely right. He's comfortable fading back.
The tip by Evans is good, and your theory is if a guy can shoot, he can shoot, leave him alone.
Well, exactly. I used to think those were bad shots, but not for great shooters. Those are great shots.
Juwan Smith, and a push in the back by Duke Cruz as Evans ended up in the front row.
Dave, this isn't fair right here. You get up on him because you know he doesn't put it down great, but he goes, whoop. Not only does he put it down, he's added the crossover to it.
And that little fall away is, I think, is the difference of him getting the shot off and not.
Well, good point. His head goes back, his right foot goes up as he leans back, and you can't block it. Creates space.
Up ahead to Evans. Chisholm a little slow to get back.
How good is that young freshman from Arkansas? He is a player. Great get for Western Kentucky out of the state of Arkansas.
12 points in the game for Evans. His season best was 18 against UAB, but he was held scoreless last outing against Southern Illinois, so a great comeback game for Jeremy Evans. Joyner kicks it out to Collier. He'll line it up. Got it. There's a three.
And Western Kentucky, excuse me, Dave, right back in this ball game.
Absolutely. 52-47. Timeout taken by Bruce Pearl and the Tennessee Volunteers. It's a 7-0 run. Back to Knoxville after this.
You're watching FSN South.
Tennessee leading 52-47, 16:06 to go here in the second half. And there's a question right now as if Vincent Collier hit a three. It looks like a three to me. They're looking at a replay again to determine if it was a 2 or a 3, and they will go with a three-pointer. Rick Crawford gives us that signal. Vincent Collier is a transfer from Florida State. Spent 2 years playing for the Seminoles. He's had a safety at Florida. He finished last year as the #2 3-point shooter in the Sun Belt. 9th best ever single season in three-point percentage in Western Kentucky history.
Pretty impressive. Over half his attempts from three, Dave. When I see a coach let a player shoot over half his attempts from three, you know that coach thinks he can shoot the basketball.
Bradshaw, speaking of three-point shooters, right on cue. And Darren Horn just turns around and says, we cannot allow 5 to be wide open in the corner. Here's Courtney Lee working on Jawan Smith. Courtney's trying to get some room now. Chisholm fouls him. That's a mismatch out on the perimeter. That's the third on Chisholm. And Darren Horn, I'm sure, will talk to his crew about number 5 in white. Guys, we got to cover him. He can do this. The coach of Western Kentucky, Dave Neal, along with Eddie Fogler. Glad you could join us on Sunday afternoon. Two high-scoring teams going toe-to-toe here in Knoxville. Chris Lofton leading the parade of scores with 21. Brazelton, no good to follow. Up and in from Boris Siakam, the 6'7" junior out of Cameroon. Now back the other way. It's Duke Cruz quickly off the window.
Both teams great at getting the ball out of bounds quickly to counterattack, but neither particularly good at sprinting back after they score.
Here's Brazelton trying to get a screen from Evans. Slides off it. Now they got the switch. And then Tennessee switches down in the paint. So Childress now on Evans. And a hand check. Called on Duke Cruz. That'll be his third.
Put the big man all over the Western Kentucky player, taking it out of bounds. They're going to switch the crosses to deny the inbounds pass to see if they can create a turnover.
Collier. Oh, he thought 3. Now he's going to take Cruz. Back up. 15-footer. No good. Rebound Childress. That is 7 rebounds for Ryan Childress tonight. Or today, depending on.
And as long as he plays well, you'll see Chisholm and Cruz splitting the 5. Coach Pearl looking for production out of the 4th spot from Childress.
Courtney Lee guarding Chris Lofton. Long 3. Well short. One of the first mishaps of the game for Chris Lofton. He's now 7 out of 10 from the field, 5 out of 8 from behind the arc. Lofton, by the way, in the last 3 games,
yes,
averaging 28.5 points. Came in 17 out of 29 from behind the arc. That's before today's numbers of 21 points and 5 out of 8 from behind the arc. My man can score.
He can't score. That's unfair.
Here's Courtney Lee getting double teamed. Brazelton, he'll try to score. No good. Tough day for Brazelton. And it will be Western Kentucky basketball as Josh Tabb steps on that baseline.
When Lee penetrates off the dribble handoffs, trying to get into the gap, Tennessee helps. They make him pitch, and they're taking their chances with somebody else besides Lee shooting threes. Anybody but Lee.
Ty Rogers on the floor for Western Kentucky, nearly turned it over.
And maybe their best pure shooter, Dave, Ty Rogers.
Brazelton off to Lee. Back to Brazelton. Here's Evans. Brazelton, good defense by Smith. Shot clock down to 5. There's Courtney Lee. He's going to have to get a shot off. High arching jumper, no good. Didn't touch iron. Shot clock violation, and that'll get the Vol Nation on their feet.
Well, excellent defense by Tennessee. It bogs down, and Tennessee begins to do a great job on the ball, and then they switch the ball screen and make it difficult for Lee.
14 turnovers now by Tennessee. Western Kentucky down 8. They trail by 11 at the break. Courtney Lee, a very quiet afternoon, 8 points for the Sun Belt preseason player of the year, an All-American candidate. Shot clock at 5. Here's Rogers. He's going to have to get the shot off. And that's back-to-back shot clock violations. Haven't seen that very often.
Very rare to see it back-to-back. Tennessee guarding the ball very well. And Tennessee has kept the ball out of Lee's hand when the clock has run down. Rogers is an outstanding shooter, but he's not someone who can beat you off the dribble. Not quick enough. The Vol defense taking over.
Juan Smith feels like he can take Rogers. Here's Tabb. He'll line up. In and out. No good. Tapped around. Brazelton has it. Tennessee gets back very quickly defensively. Brazelton. Pull-up jumper. No good. The tap. No good. Courtney Lee down on the floor in a traveling violation against the Vols. Brazelton now 0 out of 8 from the field. Young man, second leading scorer on this team at over 10 a game. Tennessee leads it by 8. By 8, Courtney Lee trying to get it cranked up. Looks like he might take a breather here at the 11:51 mark of the second half. Courtney Lee and Chris Lofton came in as the two marquee guns, the two leading scorers, 19 a game for Courtney Lee and Lofton at over 20 a game. But tonight, Lofton has won the battle. 5 threes on 7 made field goals for Chris Lofton.
With a defense that has been told, don't let Lofton get a shot.
Another turnover by the Hilltoppers out of the timeout. Tennessee's opponents, you know, we talk about offense with Tennessee and the amount of points they produce, but in the last 4 games, if you count today's game, opponents are just 17 out of 87 from behind the arc. That is less than 20%. Tonight, Western Kentucky, 2 out of 16. And we've had back-to-back shot clock violations by Western Kentucky until just a moment ago.
Well, last year, Dave, Tennessee ranked, I think, at the bottom or 11th in field goal percent defense. It was hard to imagine them winning the East, being almost last or next to last in field goal percent defense. Their defense looks much improved this season.
And a blocking foul against Brazelton. You know, obviously losing C.J. Watson is just it's hard to replace him. What he did for this club a year ago as a point guard, scoring guard, a defensive-minded point guard as well. You thought they might have lost that little edge defensively, but I don't see it from this group.
Now, this group is guarding the ball better. And, Dave, I look out there right now. We've got, we've got Cruz at 6'7", 6'8", and we've got Bradshaw at 6'4", and 3 guys 6'2", 6'3". It's an incredibly small lineup. You would think people could get him on the offensive glass. Western did that early, but has not done that lately. These guys just play very well together in a style that Bruce Pearl continues to teach and doesn't change. They get better and better at it.
By the way, Coach, that was our first points in almost 4 minutes of basketball. We sat on 57-49 for 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
I would look for Lee to get back in this game fairly soon. And Brazelton is just really struggling, not shooting the ball very well, and now it's beginning to affect his play.
You can tell that that young man's confidence is suffering, and right now his coach talking to him.
He plays, got good speed, good quickness. He shot the ball when he's supposed to. They just haven't gone down. Now his confidence is really low. Nice move by Darren Horn to try to settle him down.
Well, Ty Rogers was the point guard last year for the most part for this Western Kentucky team, and Darren Horn felt he really needed a true point guard. He went the junior college route as Lofton gets points 24 and 25 tonight. There's Rogers, normally a two-guard. That's his game, can shoot it exceptionally well.
Best shooter on the team, needs to get more looks. That last play for Tennessee, they post up Lofton. They spread the court, and they run a guard in there and post up.
You know, Rogers, 46% from behind the arc, 20 out of 43. Juwan Smith off the iron. Chisholm had his hand on it. Loose ball. Slaughter has it. Now Siakam will give it up to Mendez Valdez. He'll pull up. 15-footer. Shot at 14. Evans fouled by Chisholm. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 6 out of 6 from the field. Coming off a scoreless game against Southern Illinois. Eight-point game with 10 minutes to go. Western Kentucky hasn't played well this half, or at least in the last 5 or 6 minutes, but they're still hanging around. Tennessee cannot put them away. Siakam, rebound. Here's a chance for the Hilltoppers. Here's Lee. Courtney to the basket, off the window. Got it. That's big-time power play from Courtney Lee.
That is big time, Dave. He just explodes to the basket.
He now has 10. He scored in double figures every game this season. And for Courtney Lee, that is the 66th time in his career he's reached double figures.
Game of spurts here. Tennessee pulls out. Western Kentucky spurts back.
Juwan Smith draws the foul. He'll step to the free throw line for a pair. That'll be the 4th on Courtney Lee.
Well, that's a big foul for both teams to put into their data bank.
Oh.
Dave, I think I'd take him out here. But if this game gets over 10, I'm bringing him back in with 9 to go. He's a junior. He has good intellect. The same play happens again. He totally backs off and doesn't come close to fouling. I don't think he'll be sitting there much longer.
So Juwan Smith now enters double figures, the 3rd Tennessee player to do it. Lamar Smith also with 11. Mendez Valdez guarded by Jordan Howell. The takeaway by Juwan Smith. Collier chasing him, and a foul, and that will be. Let's see what that call will be. The question is, you know what? Juwan Smith never shot the ball, Coach.
He actually looked like he was trying to fake him in the air, Dave. He threw his right hand up. Good point. He's not in the act of shooting. So.
And they're going to give him 2 shots, but I'd like to take another look. I don't think he never shot. That should not be a 2-shot foul.
Absolutely not a 2-shot foul. I don't know what he's thinking when he throws his right hand up in the air, but he never left the ground. The ball never got out of his hands.
No, this is a complete miscall right here.
Absolutely. I thought somebody might have had an intentional foul is what I was looking to see.
And it's only the 4th team foul against Western Kentucky, so it should just be an inbounds play.
Correct. You know, an excessively hard foul this year is a point of emphasis for, you know, a 2-shot foul, but that was not called. That was called a 2-shot shooting foul. Should have been a common foul.
1 out of 2 for Juwan, so Not as bad as it could have been if you're a Hilltopper fan.
I'm predicting Brazelton makes his next shot.
He's 0 out of 8.
If he waits for a good one, I think Brazelton will make his next basket.
Siakam on the baseline working on Bradshaw. High arching shot off the window is good.
I think more teams need to think about that. Take advantage of the small power forward. Outstanding player, but not real big on the post defensively.
64-57 Tennessee. Here's Jawan Smith. Left it short. Evans the rebound. Evans has 9 of those.
Sometimes I think Smith, who's a really good shooter, takes some bad threes. Contested and very deep. He can shoot it, but he's not Lofton.
You know what? You watch a guy like Lofton shoot it and make them all the time. I got to think if some of that rubs off and you go, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
Just a thought. I'm trying to protect Jawan. Rogers pulls up. He's got the 3.
There's the shooter. You know, I get the feeling Tennessee's controlling this game easy, but you look up, they're only up 4.
Lofton.
Oh, my.
That's just sick. That is just sick.
That is going left, falling back, lifting it up over a 6'7" guy. And Bruce Pearl trying to get the crowd involved.
27 for Lofton. His career high was 34, and that was in their last game a little over a week ago against Memphis. And an offensive foul against Siakam, and that'll give it back to Tennessee. But Chris Lofton is everything and then some for the Tennessee Vols. Just watch this shot. 66-60. Here's our Dodge drive of the game, and it's got to be this shot. And if you've ever played the game of basketball, you know how tough that shot is. Just the soft touch alone is impressive.
Absolutely, Dave. That's when you play in horse, and you know he makes it, and we both got H.
Right.
Because neither of us can do that.
Or that would be E, and I'd be out for the day. You used to play with death shots where you go to the free throw line and get a letter back if you made the free throw and get 2 of them. Did you ever play that one?
I never played that one in New York growing up.
Yeah, that's just a Southern game. Lamar Smith. That's swatted out of there. Couldn't see who got it. Evans with the block.
Evans has been incredibly impressive here.
Yes, double-double today.
Double-double. Freshman from Arkansas. Doesn't score against Southern Illinois.
Rogers, good ball fake. Left it short. Lofton the rebound. Lofton has 4 of those.
The difference for that was Tennessee made Rogers bounce the ball. They did not give him a standstill jumper. They ran at him, made him put it down. This young man can get up quick. He's rebounding the ball. He's scoring. An outstanding evening here for Jeremy Evans. Quick jumper.
13 and 10. And Duke Cruz gives Tennessee an 8-point advantage with less than a 6.5 to go in this one.
Dave, there's a play, set play. That's why I think teams ought to play zone out of bounds underneath. Little screens for Big. They switch. Little can't jump up with Big, who lays the ball in the basket. Zone out of bounds underneath, I think, is the way to go.
Western Kentucky had this down to 4 just moments ago.
Of course, they can hit a 3 versus your zone, too. So
Brazelton nearly coughed it up. Rebound to Lofton on the run. The finger roll, count the basket.
Well, we talked early about putting it down and going to the basket. He's taken that to a ridiculous level as well. I didn't think there was any place for him to go. And he gets his body through the little crack and draws another foul going to the basket. Is that the 3rd, Dave, or 4th time he's got a chance for it? Play the old-fashioned way. 3rd time. Factor in the other 3s from outside, and I said it before, I'll say it again, it's ridiculous.
He now has 30 points. 4 off his matching his career high. Lofton will take a breather with 5:54 to go in the game, and just like that, it's an 11-point game.
3 times Western Kentucky has taken from double digits down to 4 or 5 points, and 3 times the Vols have answered back to double digits. Let's see if Western has one more run in them here, Dave, in the last 5:48.
Biggest lead of the game was 13, and that came right at the opening moments of the second half. And Western Kentucky had it down to 4 with 2 minutes to go, and they had the basketball right before halftime. But the final 2 minutes, the Vols pulled away, similar to what we're seeing right here.
Great points. When you look at Lofton, and Western Kentucky certainly plays this style very, very well. They're trying to beat Tennessee in the 80s, but when you get up and down with Tennessee, you are opening up the court for Chris Lofton. He's much harder to get to as a shooter. He's much harder to contain as a driver. He's difficult in the half court, but almost impossible in the open court.
Here's what he's done the last 4 games. 31 versus Louisiana Lafayette, 20 against Murray State, 34 against Memphis, and 31 tonight here against the Hilltoppers. That's a pretty good run, averaging 29 points a game over his last 4.
And guys, we can't let Lofton get a good look from 3.
I heard that all morning.
Exactly.
I heard it all morning from Darren Horn. It's not like he didn't tell his players about it. It's not like the players haven't been guarding him.
And they're switching everything. Very tough to get it in bounds.
Here it is again. They do get it in bounds. They had a chance for a quick double on Siakam.
And Western can't run a play from the side out of bounds.
Courtney Lee off to Ty Rogers, who has a couple of threes here. Siakam down low, working on Duke Cruz. Siakam, pump fakes. Got the contact and count the basket. Siakam is having another solid afternoon with 9 and 7.
A lot of players, a lot of depth here for Western Kentucky. It depends on which day, which guys play meaningful minutes.
Childress. Lamar Smith inside. He's fouled. He'll step to the free throw line.
You know, Dave, Cruz picks up his 4th, and Bruce Pearl comes in small and keeps Chisholm on the bench. So we now have an extremely small team with Ryan Childress as a 5-man for Tennessee.
Lamar Smith to the free throw line. 72% foul shooter on the year with a dozen points now.
Nice stroke, nice looking stroke. Statistics from 3 particularly indicate maybe not a real good shooter. Nice looking follow through rotation from the foul line. Ryan Jimston.
Attaboy. Brazelton. Bring it across the midcourt, strike down 9. Just a little over 5 minutes to go. Courtney Lee for 3. No good. Rebound pulled out of there by Tabb. Freshman averaging 3 boards a contest. Courtney Lee 0 for 3 from behind the arc. He is stuck on 10 points. Now Tennessee trying to take some time off this clock. Lamar Smith. Lamar lost the handle off to Childress. Too strong, gets his own miss, and Childress puts it back in.
Well, Bruce Pearl using his depth. Childress ready to play here today. More alert than Chisholm, earning some of Chisholm's time at the 5 spot.
10 rebounds to go along with 7 points for Ryan. Rogers open 3, in and out.
That is at least 3, maybe 4 3-pointers for the Hilltoppers that have gone in and came back out.
What a screen by Childress on Rogers. And then Siakam throws it back to Lamar Smith. Getting a little bit ugly, but the screen by Childress jarred me, and I was 20 feet away. Ryan Childress having a nice afternoon here in Knoxville. Tennessee leads at 74-63. Back after this.
You're watching FSN South.
Here's the screen that Ryan Childress set moments ago that I said jarred me from 20 feet away. Watch this. On Ty Rogers. Looks like he should play tight end for Philip Fulmer.
Ouch.
By the way, Ryan Childress today having he has doubled up his career high in rebounds. He has 10 rebounds. His career high coming in was 5. Our Lincoln Mercury player of the game, and we still have 3:55 to go, but there's no doubt that Chris Lofton will earn those honors with 30 points, 5 3-pointers, and has shown an array of shots tonight that would impress most.
Well, I'm going to say it again, Dave. His numbers are outrageous. His range is ridiculous. It's about impossible to guard unless you keep it out of his hands. Easier said than done.
My first time to see Tennessee this year up close and personal and talking to Bruce Pearl, I said, where will I see an improvement in Chris Lofton's game? And he says his ability to put the ball on the floor and get it to the basket.
And complete it, make it.
Right, and that's a big part to that. A lot of people can get there. It's doing something with it.
Look at Bradshaw switch that screen.
And he steps on the sideline, Western Kentucky basketball.
Set play for Lee, big screens for Little, which is a good way to go. Big trying to get Little open, and watch him switch out and steal this. Right there. He wasn't guarding Lee. He switched to Lee. He read the play. Right there. Savvy. You can't teach it. Recruit it. Well, I guess you can teach it some. It's difficult.
Courtney Lee being pressured 25 feet away from the basket. He just can't find a shot. He has to force one up. Off the iron, no good. Tapped around. And a foul on Ramar Smith as Lee's hustling, doing all he can. That'll be the third on Ramar. I want to go back to something, Coach, you just mentioned about defense. And Bruce Pearl and you were having a little discussion about it today before the game. And you guys, you know, we're talking about how you got to go out and recruit some defensive guys. We all talk about he can shoot, he can pass. But sometimes it's overlooked, the ability to play defense.
Well, I think defense, Dave, I agree. And Bruce and I, you were listening to conversation. I think that's a great point player and a good defender, just like we saw with Bradshaw. He saw it happen before it happened because he's been there, done that. And he has the rote memory to react to it. And so if you get 5 guys who really know how to play, it's a fun group to coach.
There's Bradshaw. He'll cross court it to Jawan Smith out of the corner. Got it.
Well, how about that pass, Dave? Smith gets the 3. Bradshaw should get the credit. Scott Princeton, the SID for Tennessee, told me today Bradshaw has 1 dunk. He's got 1 dunk, but he's a heck of a player. How about that pass wide open to Smith for 3? Give credit, too, by the way, to Buzz Peterson, who saw something in Dane Bradshaw and Chris Lofton that some other coaches perhaps didn't see. We brought them here. Of course, give credit to Bruce Pearl for just enhancing their talents in his second year here at Tennessee.
I was talking to Bruce Pearl, too, also about what I saw in the career of C.J. Watson, who spent a lot of time, maybe in his first couple of years, outside the three-point line, just dribbling the basketball, waiting for something to happen. And to watch him last year push the tempo was, he hardly ever stood in the same spot longer than 2 seconds.
Now, Bruce has his style, and I think it's a great advantage when a coach plays to his style and can recruit to his style.
Jawan Smith with that 37-inch vertical gets the block, but Courtney Lee gets it to go down. 12-point game, 2:37 to play.
Some coaches have to recruit the best athletes they get, Dave. Smith's on fire now, and they have to adjust their style to the players they get. Not Bruce Pearl. He's going to continue to recruit players to his style. They will get better each and every year playing the Tennessee style under Bruce Pearl.
Western Kentucky wants a timeout, trailing by 15, the largest lead of the game for Tennessee at this point. And Jawan Smith now 18 points. He has scored the last 7 for Bruce Pearl's team.
Penetration in the pitch. I like Ramar Smith. Like you, Dave, my first time seeing the Vols in person. I really like their freshman class. And the coaching staff was telling us, Bruce was telling us that perhaps Josh Tabb is the biggest surprise of all his freshmen, maybe the best defender on the ball on his basketball team right now. The other thing I want to say, too, is I'm very impressed with what I see out of Western Kentucky. They could have been blown out in the first half, early, late, could have been blown out
in the second half, made 3 different runs to get back in it, and 3 times a three-pointer didn't go down that might have gotten them over the hump, and those were good looks.
I will be shocked if this isn't an NCAA team.
Well, in the Sun Belt, I agree. They've played a very tough non-conference schedule. I think their all-PI today, according to Darren Horn, was 19 or 20. The problem they have is their league is not doing particularly well. But you got to give credit to Darren Horn and his staff to schedule as tough as they have scheduled. It bodes well for them in conference play, but they're only the conference champ made well. I certainly like to see Western, have a great run in their league, and if they don't win the tournament, they should deserve a bid. And of course, the SEC league play starting shortly. I'd be surprised if we don't get, or they don't get, 6 teams at least in the NCAA tournament. I went back to my we at South Carolina there.
I think a team in the SEC that we should keep an eye on, the evolution of a team, is in Starkville, Mississippi State.
Most improved team I've seen so far in the SEC. I love the freshman guards that Rick Stansberry's brought in. The other people have gotten better. Jamon Gordon is understanding his role better, not trying to do quite as much. Oh my gosh, Lofton missed a shot wide open from 15 feet called a free throw. Hello. Well, the league to me, Dave, I think might be the most balanced I've seen in quite a time. If SEC East, Georgia's picked for dead last, if they're the 6th best team in the East.
They're 3rd in the country in scoring. They're over 90 points a game.
Absolutely. Dennis Felton's team is better this year than they were last year. Oh my gosh. He's too wide open. I decided what's wrong there.
He can't fall away either.
Can't score if nobody's guarding him either. But I think the league, you look at an SEC schedule.
Count the basket. Well, for this Tennessee team, they'll take on Oklahoma State in a couple of days over in Nashville, Tennessee. Then they host Texas. And then Tennessee Tech, East Tennessee State. Then it's SEC play January 7th. They'll open up conference play against that team I was talking about, Mississippi State, which should be an interesting matchup.
Very improved. I look at Tennessee's non-conference schedule, and these next 3 are huge. Western, Oklahoma State, and Texas. They've already beaten Memphis. They've already won on the road at Lafayette, Louisiana. They've already played Butler, North Carolina. Seems to me if they could split their next 2 and go 8-8 in the league, they're an NCAA team because their RPI non-conference schedule is terrific, and they've had enough success with that non-conference schedule that they're in good shape with an 8-8 SEC league play. And I do think coaches need to look at that. To me, if you've got an SEC caliber team in a league that is as difficult as the Southeastern Conference, you need to non-conference schedule such that if you go 8-8 in one of the best leagues in the country, that your non-conference schedule should get you in the NCAA tournament. Of course, that's easy for me to say.
I was going to say, how do you do?
My record's not affected. Mine's history anyway.
What was that? What year was it that you had that great run at South Carolina?
They all seem the same. I don't know.
97?
Yeah, I think it was 97 when the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Smith again out of the corner. That's his shot. I'm thinking if I'm watching this tape scouting Tennessee, I'm going to make sure Smith doesn't get that shot. Lee back the other way.
But those last 3 by Smith, Dave, are wide open. How about the penetration and pitch by Lofton? Wide open shots go in a heck of a lot more often than contested shots, except for Lofton. He makes them contested more than open.
And Dane Bradshaw with those hurt shoulders, showing a little bit of the pain.
The penetration and pitch. Tennessee's a very good passing team. He gets into the gap, and look how open that is. I mean, he's going to make 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 of that wide open look, as compared to about 3 others that he took deep and contested, that none of which went in the basket. Bradshaw is hurting. There's no doubt. Look at him, Dave, at the foul line. I mean, he's struggling there. I think we got a substitution for Dane Bradshaw right here. And gives a left-hand shake to Coach Pearl, not a right-hand shake, because I'm not so sure he can raise that right shoulder, right hand.
Brazelton pulls up. Now back-to-back shots by Tyrone have gone down. Timeout taken by Tennessee. Pressure comes. Western Kentucky, similar to what happened against Southern Illinois last week for Western Kentucky. They fell behind big early, made a comeback in the first half. Then Southern Illinois got out again. Western Kentucky made a comeback, but down the stretch, Southern Illinois just too much for the Hilltoppers.
Well, Western wasn't going to change its style. I agree with Coach Orm. When you play that way as well as they do, it doesn't matter whom you play, where you play them. Play your game. Came in here trying to get into the 80s. They average 80 a game and beat Tennessee at its own game. Not quite good enough today, as the Vols have already 87 points. Which I think, Dave, will make Bruce Pearl 19-1 when his Tennessee Volunteers score more than 80 points.
Lofton up ahead of the field, off the glass, and Chris Lofton now with 32. He's 2 off matching his career high. Joyner pulls up off the mark. Juwan Smith grabs the rebound. Here's Tab. Cross-court pass, Lofton. There's about a 6-7 second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Today, Tennessee 12 out of 23 from behind the arc, 52%. Western Kentucky 6 out of 23 today. That is 26% from behind the arc.
And if we would have known those numbers before this game, Dave, we would have picked the Volunteers to win this basketball game. A sure sign of Tennessee winning here today. 3-point shooting.
Childress calls it a day. Ryan 7 points, 10 rebounds. And Lofton will take a seat. He'll finish up with another 30-point game. 32 on 11 of 15 shooting, 5 of 9 from behind the arc. 5 rebounds, 4 assists.
Fair day.
Yes. I will say, and another guy who's had a fair day is Ramar Smith. Ramar with those 15 points, his career high. And then he blocks the shot up ahead to Tab. He'll lay it up and in. Slaughter fires. That goes down. Long 3. Slaughter now with 5 in the game. Courtney Lee will finish up with 17 points, 2 off his average.
Excellent non-conference win for Tennessee. Nice effort by Western Kentucky.
So Bruce Pearl and his Tennessee Volunteers improve to 8-2 on the year. They go to 5-0 here at home, winning it 93-79. So for Eddie Fogler and the rest of our crew, I'm Dave Neal saying so long, everybody. Our next televised SEC men's game is Saturday, December 23rd at 4 o'clock Eastern when Louisiana Tech battles Glenn Davis and the LSU Tigers. Once again, our final score, 93 for Tennessee, the Hilltoppers 79. So long. We'll see you down the road.